to this wonderful occasion. Occasionally, you get fair warning that you are about to participate in history. This is your fair warning. You're in store for an amazing evening tonight. I had the opportunity to spend a few years with Chairman Seal in about an hour. Y'all didn't hear me though, did you? I said I got to spend a few years with him in about an hour. Truly amazing experience. So I would like to welcome everyone to the extension and the continuation of the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party's 50th anniversary. My name is Tony Benton, and I will be your MC this evening. And I'm delighted to be here in this position as a beneficiary of some of the things that the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party put into play in this area. And so as we get prepared to start, I would like everybody to get comfortable, buckle your seatbelts, do what you have to do to get ready for this ride. And I'd like everyone to take a look at a couple of old clips just to get this thing started. All right, you with me?
Yeah.
All right.
Necessary to fight on two fronts. We must liberate the colony as well as stimulate revolution in the mother country. And I think that the revolutionary students play a great part in saving America. If it were not for the white students, the Black Panther Party would react to the racism in the country and therefore respond with racism. White students have been very interested in the past of the foreign policy of the United States. They're demanding that the United States withdraw from Vietnam, stop brutalizing the Vietnamese people, and we feel that the white students should relay and pay more attention to the colonized situation here of the blacks first, because after all, this is home, and they should, this is not to say that they shouldn't denounce America's treacherous actions abroad. I think they can be done at the same time. That it's just a matter of placing emphasis upon the criminal activities of America here in the homeland. So the concept is this, basically. The whole black nation has to be put together as a black army. And we're going to walk on this nation, we're going to walk on this racist power structure, and we're going to say to the whole damn government, stick 'em up, motherfucker. This is a hold-up. We come for what's ours. All right, we here with some jazz conspiracy. You know what we're going to do? We are going to defend ourselves. Because Huey P. Newton said that power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. Power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. What kind of phenomena? Social phenomena. What is the social phenomena? Black people, Mexican American, any kind of people begin to learn that the social phenomena is that in fact U.S. racist, decadent, capitalist, and imperialist America is a holy state. And a holy state exists here that these things are doing nothing but protecting the average businessman and the democratic politicians, protecting the exploitative system that they got going. That in fact we are tired of it, we are sick of it, we've been brutalizing black people, we've been murdering and lynching them, black people are tired of it. That's the vanguard revolution almost doesn't. And it's phenomenally correct also. But we are concerned with that social phenomena. We are concerned with that exploitation. We are concerned with the oppression that black people and all other people in the world who are suffering the
same common person still suffering today. The thing is that we have the ability to define it. If we have the ability to define it, the only next thing to do is get organized. Get organized. So when a pig walks up to you, or a pig is down with the people, you be so organized, you be learning to tactics, you learn the revolutionary principles, you be having some guns get out somewhere, you have some proper tactics. That when the pig is giant, the pig is wrong, you whoop your guns out on him, blow him away, and then you have the ability, in fact, you have made that pig act in a desired manner. But a new system, brother. We need a new system. The people need a new system. I got to explain to you also.
All right. What'd you think?
Yeah! Power to the people.
Let me try that again. What did you think? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah!
Welcome to the celebration of the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party's 50th anniversary.
Woohoo!
Oh, I'm excited to be here. See, I had to just get you seated and then be a little subdued as I wanted you to pay full attention to what was going on there with those two clips. But now the excitement can come out, the feelings of joy and all of the things that come along with remembering the impact that these two gentlemen had, not only on Seattle, but on the entire country and on the world.
Yeah! All right!
Woo! This should let each and every one of you know that you are capable of making change.
Woohoo!
Each and every one of you. Welcome to the celebration of the Seattle Black Panther Party's 50th anniversary.
All right! Woohoo!
I would like to introduce to you a gentleman who grew up in Seattle. He came to Seattle from Chicago when he was 7 years old and went to Garfield High School. In 1968 at Garfield High School, he helped organize the Black Student Union at Garfield High School. That very same year in high school, with his older brother Aaron, they co-founded the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party.
Yes! All right! Woohoo!
Elmer was the field marshal, and that put him in charge of the breakfast programs. And eventually, he went on to continued in 1972 when many of the members either went to Oakland or moved to Oakland. He continued to lead the chapter of the Black Panther Party up here through the 70s and even in through the 80s, and became a fixture in our community, a leader in our community, a gold standard in our community for what it meant to care about other people.
Yes! All right! Woohoo!
Elmer continues to travel the world and share his views, his sentiment, and most of all, himself with other folks. And he's executive director of the, I want to make sure I get it right here too. It's okay, you know, I'm so excited. I get nervous too. You know, especially when I'm talking about somebody that I've looked up to for as long as I can remember. But it's the diversity consultant. And I have to share a little bit about the opportunity. And I asked Elmer how much time I had, and I won't take up too much time because I know that you want to hear from him. But when you're a young African-American male growing up in the Central District, as I was, and that is where Elmer was, you tend to look for people who you can emulate, who you can be like. And there were many different choices at that time of the type of persons that we could be. And I'm not disparaging any of them. As a matter of fact, I love my community.
Yes. All right.
All aspects of it.
Yes.
But the opportunity to see someone who was courageous, who was selfless, who was intelligent, smart, articulate, but also down to earth. Somebody who you could touch, somebody who you could listen to, somebody who would listen to you. And I don't think, again, I remind Elmer of this all the time because he had no idea who I was at that particular time. So again, I say to all of you, please put your hands together and welcome Seattle's American hero.
All right. Woo! Yay! Woo! Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you. You know, that wasn't supposed to go down like that. You know, I see the people as the heroes. You know, we always in the party, our heroes were the people that went to work every single day. They went and struggled for their paycheck. If they got a paycheck, they had to come home and feed their babies with a little bit of meager paychecks that they had. And they had to survive a very racist and brutal environment. So y'all were our heroes. The people are the heroes. That's what we fought for.
All right.
So I applaud you. Give yourselves a hand.
Woohoo!
You know, when a group of us went to Oakland, actually we went to San Francisco in 1968. It was on the heels of the assassination of Martin Luther King. And in fact, just prior to that, a group of us from Garfield and a group from the UW, which included our county council member, he's in the audience there, he's hiding out, Larry Gossett. Where are you, Larry? Larry is right there. We were asked to go down to Franklin High School because some of the sisters and brothers down there were being mistreated. And they didn't have a BSU. And they asked us to come down and talk to them and help them figure out, you know, how to stand up and fight back. And when we got down there, we were at this little place called the Beanery. Some of you that know Franklin know what the Beanery is. It was a place where students gathered right outside the school, just south of the school. And after we got to meeting with them and talking to them about what was going on, Larry said, well, it's time to go shut them down. And so we walked right out of the Beanery and walked right up across the street and walked into the principal's office and said, we taking over. And we took over the school. And we said, we ain't giving it back until you adhere to these demands. Among them, which is we wanted our students to be treated as human beings and with dignity. And so we stayed in there overnight. We stayed overnight. The next morning the phone rang. And Larry or one of us answered the phone and said, good morning, this is Franklin High School. I can help you. And of course it was the principal wanting his office back. And so we said, you're going to do this. And they allowed the students to have a black student union. And they asked for a black studies environment or black studies program at the high school. And they got all of those things. A few days later, I was in my geometry class. I don't know where Comrade Larry was, but the phone rang, and Mr. Naramore said, "Omar, they want you in the office." I said, "Oh God, again?" And as I stepped out of the office, there were 2 detectives there that handcuffed me and took me to jail. And several other Garfield High School students, Clifton Wyatt, several Franklin students, Larry was arrested, my brother Aaron, Carl Miller, were all arrested within the same hour. And within that hour, MLK was assassinated. Now, wasn't it ironic that they were getting these young student leaders off the street at the time that King was being assassinated? Well, about a week later, we were traveling to San Francisco State University to hear members of BSUs across the country talk about their organizing and to help us figure out how we could further our goals and organize within our own schools and community. And it just so happened that that night, that Friday night, the keynote speaker was this dude from this organization across the bay in Oakland called the Black Panther Party. And that dude was Chairman Bobby Seale.
All right.
And Bobby, I got to say this, I have to preface this, that the Black Panther Party has been so misaligned in history. They make you believe that we were angry militants with no revolutionary philosophy or theory, empty-headed, like on Forrest Gump, or in The Butler. Those are mere caricatures of the Black Panther Party. And they would have you believe that we were angry just for the sake of being angry, and that we were violent. That's the messaging. The fake news. That's the real fake news. But I got to tell you that we were inspired by our love for the community, our love for the people. And that night, Bobby was angry. Bobby was mad. Bobby was pissed off. Because a few days later, 2 days in fact after MLK was assassinated, the first member to join the Black Panther Party, 16-year-old little Bobby Hutton, had been hit by 30 police bullets in the middle of a street with no clothes on from the waist up. He had taken his top of his clothes off so that they would see that he didn't have a weapon. But they shoved him ahead and said, "He's got something," and they shot him down in the streets. Sound familiar? And so he was murdered in the streets of Oakland. And Bobby gave the most fiery speech that you could ever hear or ever want to hear. So a small group of us, my brother and I included, made a beeline to Bobby after his speech. And we said, we want in. We want to start a chapter of the Black Panther Party. Chairman Bobby said, "You're not ready yet. So I want you to come to Oakland tomorrow. I want you to attend the funeral of little Bobby Hutton." And so we did. And I remember as we were driving across the Bay Bridge and took that first exit down into West Oakland. Those of you that crossed that bridge know what I'm talking about. And as we were headed to St. Augustine Church, we started seeing hundreds of young black brothers and sisters in leather jackets and berets. It looked like a black army, just like Bobby was saying in the video. And I remember walking through to the church, and as we got inside the church, just like this, was ringed all the way around with sisters and brothers with bandoliers across their chests, leather jacket, blue shirt, or blouse, a beret, and a shotgun. And the shock of seeing it, the strength of these revolutionaries to organize and stand up in the face of a decadent society. And when it came time to cross in front of the coffin was up in front, draped in a flag. Now, not an American flag, it was draped in a Black Panther Party flag. And Mrs. Hutton, little Bobby's mother, wanted the coffin to be open so that the community could see what the police had done to her son. And I remember crossing in front of the coffin and looking down at little Bobby with his beret on and in his uniform. 17 years old, same age I was. And I said that could be me laying there. And that was the moment for most of us of no return. It was a moment of no return for me. As we said, we're ready now, Chairman. We're ready. We had to go through political education. Bobby said we had to read 2 hours a day. You know, you had to do PE classes, political education classes twice a week. You had to have 2 weapons and 1,000 rounds of ammunition. And you had to be able to shoot it, and you had to be able to clean it, break it down, blindfolded. Because they were coming after us. Because we dared to stand up, and we dared to say no more. We dared to say no more bombing of little girls in churches and in the basement of the 16th Street Baptist Church. No more lynching, no more rapes, no more brutalizing our community. And it was Bobby Seale who inspired us in Seattle. And after that, we were the first chapter formed outside the state of California. And after that summer, we had chapters and branches as Bobby went across the country to start chapters and branches all across the country. That's the impact that Chairman Bobby had on our lives and on growing party members all the way across the U.S. And so it was that fire that he lit. Not to respond with violence. The nature of a Panther is to be defensive. Not to attack. But if you're attacked, if someone attacks your family or attacks your kids, any one of you in this room that has kids, one of my interns is sitting over there. Where are you, Ryan? It's one of my interns that's helping me write my book, and his dad is sitting next to him. I guarantee, if someone went to harm his son, Ryan, he would whoop him up. Yes, he would. Just like any one of you in this room, if someone were to harm your family, you would defend them. And so we didn't respond out of anger. We responded out of love. We weren't violent. We thought that denying kids a free breakfast was violent. We thought that denying people adequate health care was violent. We thought that putting people in running down rat-infested roaches' homes was violent. And so we were out to end the violence by standing up in our community. So I thank Chairman Bobby Seale. Bobby Seale is the one that said, whatever means necessary, as he was repeating what Malcolm X said, and you have the ability to define phenomena, as Huey said, and make it act in a desired manner. So with that, I'd like to bring up Chairman of the Black Panther Party, Bobby Seale.
All right now.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, I guess it was that 2-3 weeks after Dr. Martin Luther King was killed that I first came up here to Seattle, Washington. And Seattle, Washington, to me, prior to that, had to do with me being in the United States Air Force, having mastered all the structural repair courses, skills, and programs in the Air Force, become one of the top structural repairman for high performance aircraft. And Seattle, to me, was a location where Boeing existed, because those B-52 bombers were Boeing built. This is days before I ever became a young political revolutionary, or evolved to be so. And you know, I'm trying to do a movie, and now it's gotten into a movie and a series on the rise and the decline of the Black Panther Party. And my life story involvement. And it's been tough trying to get it done, because you have the right-wing people, the Heritage Foundation and others, who want to block me from telling this story for the young generation. Because a lot of us, whether we white, black, blue, brown, in the protest movement, it was a dynamic period. It was a profound period of us, by the multi-thousands, protesting and organizing across the United States of America. And the Black Panther Party popped up, literally popped up in the middle of an already ongoing nationwide civil human rights protest, an already ongoing anti-war protest. We popped up right in the middle of that, 1966, 67. And in other words, that era, that civil human rights protest movement era, that anti-war protest movement period, catapulted me all the way into the courtrooms and in jail and in prison, a prisoner, political prisoner, what have you, to the great Chicago 7 conspiracy trial. Some of you younger, older brothers and sisters, you know what I'm talking about. But these young brothers and sisters don't know about that. I mean, why did I cuss this judge out? Man, if you out your mind, you can't do that to the judge. I said, no, he violated my 6th Amendment constitutional rights. The 6th Amendment of the Constitution guarantees that I have legal counsel of my choice, not the judge's choice. My choice. Because I put a motion in, and I'm in jail. The other 7 defendants are outside of the jail. They're outside of the jail. Now, I'm in jail for a charge in New Haven, Connecticut. I'm in jail without bail, but I have to go to trial in Chicago along with my other left radical buddies. You know, Jerry Rubin, Abby Hoffman, Lee Weiner, Dave Dillinger, and so on, you know, Tom Hayden, Lee Weiner and others, and Rennie Davis. Let's see, who's alive? Bill Constantine and Lee Weiner, lawyers there, they died so far. Dave Dillinger has died. Tom Hayden has died. Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin. The only ones alive from the great Chicago 7 conspiracy trial, of which I was the 8th defendant, is myself, Lee Weiner, Rennie Davis, and John Perrons. And I'm trying to make my movie, my story. The problem is, I've been having for the last 10 years in particular. Now, Steven Spielberg announced 10 years ago that he was going to do a major feature film on the political trial of the Chicago 7. Chicago 7 trial. Steven Spielberg. And I said, damn, I was right on the internet. I said, wow, he's going to have kids. And he suggested he would have somebody like Kevin Spacey play one of the lawyers, and he would have somebody else play so-and-so and so. And and then he would have somebody else play Bobby Seale. And then he put a picture up of who he's gonna have. He wanted Will Smith to play Bobby Seale. And I'm saying, damn, I'm writing my book, The Eighth Defendant, anyway. You know, because it's all part of my life story. And boom. So I says, I gotta get over to finish this book, what have you, etc., blah, 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 blah. Anyway, other people came around, but suddenly, I think a writer's strike happened in Hollywood. And Spielberg dropped that film concept for a period. And it had been dropped till one of my producer friends out in Hollywood, he worked on Teen Wolf, but he was a good friend of mine. He calls up and says, Bob, Spielberg is back up with the movie. I say, he is? After 10 years? He says, yeah. So he sent me the whole shit. I said, wow, Spielberg, my God. The top movie maker in the United States of America, God damn, Spielberg movies, they're gonna open up in 10,000 screens, So I'm going to see Spielberg. I'm saying, look, man, now you gotta put me in as a consultant to this film, and I want you guys to write a letter and say, you gotta Bobby Seale in this, in other words, blah, 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 blah. I taught myself how to write screenplay. I'm a real screenplay.